yesterday's video, I went over a blog post going over Ken Wilber's Good, True, Beautiful. And one of the things that I took away that I was thinking about is this term enactment, which they elaborated as, if you want to know this, do that. Enactment. And I was thinking, okay, how can I ground this to myself? And I was thinking, okay, let's treat communication, or it's not necessarily communication, right? We're talking about demonstrating a new way of experiencing the world, and let's say that accomplishment of a new way of seeing the world is like limbo, right? You have to contort you have to contort something and pass a boundary, and bingo bongo, you get the it, and you're in the hermetic circle of understanding. And it's not horseshit because you can demonstrate a new skill, but maybe to only people that also have the skill. I don't know. It's kind of complicated, but whatever. Let's treat it as a limbo. And I was just thinking about what are ways that we can talk about that contortion structure that you have to do to get a new way of seeing the world that is enjoying the cult. Because the motivation here is, the more structure we can see and notice and argue, the more structure we can actually integrate, as opposed to, I don't know, be a dick about, I guess, which makes us less doomed. Alright, so just going over all the humble research I've done in integral theory, right? Let's just assume that we can get feedback from parts versus wholes, ones versus manys, and subjectives versus objectives. Like if we were to have, I guess the way that I'm trying to frame this is that if you had an immediate point of view, to translate it and to get it to where you can get like a profound new way of seeing, you would say, okay, am I thinking about a part or a whole? And you would transition. Okay, what if I was seeing only the part here? What would the whole be? Or what if I was seeing many? What would the singular be, or vice versa? What if I'm thinking about this from the subjective? What about the objective? So it's a whataboutism, right? That isn't annoying and is trying to integrate as opposed to distract. So one of the things I was thinking about is, like, one core way to present information is hierarchical, right? So details under their summations and integrations. I am making points for the headline of the slide, so it's a hierarchical. So okay, so it's kind of a part whole metaphor, right? Or the whole, the point is the hierarchical headline, and all these things underneath it are kind of under it, right? So I was thinking, is this a third-person-y way of communicating? Is this a third-person framing of content? Then I thought about spatial, right? So you have orthogonal, different planes, dimensions of information. And they form a quasi-hierarchical, you can definitely sort the planes relative to a point of view. So I was thinking, does that point of view in the spatial dimensions, does that sort of mean it's a first-person-y way? Is that like kind of relate to the beauty of discernment? Then I was thinking about associative, right? So for whatever abstract-y topic, not the abstract-y topic, associations would be the examples, right? Glued together by a hunch, hopefully eventually formalized, which is to say that, like, you could say, oh, all these things are like each other in a given sort of way. Then you can kind of pull out the formalism. So then I was thinking, does that make it sort of a relational, good, second-person way of thinking? So I guess my goal going into next week is to think about, because going on Ken Wilber's quote from my last video, there he asserts that there's a natural way that all these dimensions can be integrated and create a viscera, an immediacy that's perhaps more whole than removing any constituent of its parts. And I was wondering if I can recreate that in a sort of audio visual tool, let alone demonstration via video. So what I'm thinking right now is what that entails is basically finding intuitive ways where you can go from a hierarchical point of view to a spatial point of view to an associative point of view. To be honest with you, I have no idea what that means, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of insight to be found in video games, which I guess I will be looking at and talking about next week. Stay engaged.